Yo, 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 what's up, party people? Welcome to another episode of Thrive and Dive. Thriving in life as we dive into deeper conversations. And I'm joined here today by two new guests to Thrive and Dive. Welcome, Kevin and Carleigh. Let's go. How are you guys doing today, Kevin and Carleigh?
We're doing pretty good.
Doing fantastic.
Fantastic. That's great to hear. Well, I'm so pleased that Carleigh and Kevin have taken the time of their day to come and film a Thrive and Dive episode with me. I just met them about 3 days ago at our Young Adults Bible study at Pathway Church. Shout out to Pathway Church. And I would love for them to explain why they're here in Vero Beach, Florida, because they're not Florida locals, and just a little bit of context, and then I can fill in any of the gaps. But hey, who are you guys? Why are you here?
Yeah, sure. So we're actually Liberty students.
Let's go. We
met freshman year with a group of friends, and every spring break we come down here to visit our friend Rachel, who lives in Vero. And this is probably the first year that she really got plugged in with the church and invited us to the young adults meeting on, what was that, Sunday night?
Monday night,
yeah.
Yep.
So I thought that, I really enjoyed that kind of Bible study in that setting. And then you offered us the chance on the podcast, and I was like, hey, I've never done that. That'd be cool.
Let's go. Yeah. So you guys have been here to Vero Beach before. This is not your first time visiting.
Yeah, this is our third year.
Third year in a row. So you like it so much. You're like, you could pick anywhere to go on your spring break, but like some people call this place Zero Beach. So the locals do because there's not much to do. But why do you guys come here 3 times in a row?
Well, a big part of it is as college students, we're very broke. And Rachel's family lets us stay for free. We get free food.
Yeah.
Pretty much what we pay for is gas and any extra things. So it's a huge blessing. A lot of people don't have that opportunity. So we're super thankful that we get that chance.
Nice. So connections, networking.
Yeah,
shout out to Rachel McVeigh is her last name, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Rachel, you are such a good friend.
She's amazing.
Hosting. There's a lot of you guys here, right?
There are. Right now we have 9 people. We
9
started the week
people.
with we started with 6 and slowly added more. Yeah, one person came each day. But last year we had 12 people here.
We had 12.
The year before we had 7.
My goodness. And you guys all
is
stay at Rachel's house?
Her family is there's no need for them to serve us like they do. It's a huge blessing.
Wow. Do you guys just
really
like slumber party styles or air mattresses or it's on the floor, hammocks?
The girls get Rachel's room and the guys get anywhere else.
Anywhere else.
The floor, the couch,
a hammock out in the back.
I think I slept out there one time.
That's so cool.
But yeah, we like, I think a lot of us are from like northern states, so it's cold. So we like to come down here and get warm, get tan, and go back to school.
Because back there, it's still
cold.
We left and it was 45, 50 degrees still. I'm from Maryland, so I love the cold, but Vera's nice. It's spring break. It's in March and it's 70, 80 degrees. Yeah. Unheard of.
Yeah. So, if you've ever been here in the summertime, though, it's like, it's cooking.
We'll be there this year because actually my roommate who just came into yesterday is getting married this summer, and then so we're coming down here in the summer for the bachelorette at Rachel's house. We're gonna hang out here and then go back up to Massachusetts for the wedding. That's
awesome. So like Rachel's house is like a staple in your college career. Rachel's house, yeah. And
what you said about Vero Beach being called like Zero Beach, I think one of the best reasons I love this town is because it's a older living scenario. Like it's pretty low key. There's not a lot going on. So we don't have to deal with all of the stigma that's behind spring break. We get to avoid
If you went to Miami
chaos.
Beach, that'd be different.
No. We get to avoid that chaos and have a nice, relaxed, like we are the problem in that neighborhood.
Oh my goodness.
No one else.
That's so true. Awesome. Great. Well, I'm glad you've enjoyed your time. What's been your favorite part, Kevin, about hanging out here in Vero these past 3 years?
I think just like the car rides. I love feeling the wind in my face, and especially in Rachel's mom's Jeep. We get to drive that around. That's fun to listen to music. I've never been like super interested in like music, so I guess this is like a culturing experience for me. Listening to Carleigh's music and Taylor's and everyone else's just music taste, and it's really fun getting to dance and do like karaoke and have dance parties, That's really fun for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, what is just out of curiosity, your go-to music taste, your go-to genre? If you don't mind sharing that sensitive information on Thrive and Dive.
Oh,
so personal.
I think it's gonna be like I love old music, oldies but goodies.
Okay, yeah.
That's the name of my playlist.
Yeah.
Oldies but goodies. Okay,
I think if I could change, like if I could make one like playlist name,
Yeah.
it'd be like old country with alternative like pop.
Okay, old country with alternative pop.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, Kenny was Kenny Rogers,
Okay.
Toby Keith.
Oh yeah, I'm a country
This is
guy,
Brooklyn's
but not
material.
the
Yeah.
old country stuff. I'm kind of ignorant about. Okay, nice.
It's such a vibe. It can be like upbeat and it can be slow,
Yeah.
and calming, and sometimes it even sound like country. It just sounds like people telling a story.
That's true.
And I love it. Sometimes in the mood for like, what's it called? What was I listening to?
Jack Johnson.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the reggae.
Yeah,
slower.
reggae, slower.
Okay.
Okay.
More
Yeah.
of the beach
I
style
like
music.
I like a good beat too.
Mhm.
That's
There you go.
that's like why I got like into music. I don't really like pay attention to the words, and now I do. Now I do, but now it's just more like like sick beat.
Yeah, vibing, man. There you go. A
yeah.
little Bob Marley with reggae.
Oh yeah.
You guys watch the new? You guys watch the new movie? Or
Yeah,
no?
we did.
He's seen
Oh
it. Yeah.
I haven't. Was
I
it any
haven't
good?
gotten the chance.
It was like a documentary. I thought it was gonna be more like
Like a
like
movie.
entertaining, like a movie, but it was
Yeah.
like a documentary.
Oh.
I didn't hear it was a documentary, and
Interesting.
then I watched it. and I was like, wow. I mean, that's really cool.
So it wasn't like the Elvis Presley movie. I don't know if you watched that back in the
I
day.
did
It was,
watch
it was like
that.
it was
That
like an
was
actual
more
like
like
a-
movie.
do you know it was
movie.
like the movie Selena?
I have not seen that one.
I know that one. Yeah.
Yeah,
We
she
talked about
sang, and it's like she would perform stuff, but it was more like backstory. And like this is same with Bob Marley. It was like a backstory, just telling who he is, how he came up, and like his family in Jamaica, and when he moved to, was it like London or UK or something like that?
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway,
Nice.
a lot of that, a lot of Bob Marley.
Everything's is gonna be all right, so don't worry. All right, that's the full extent of my singing. There you go. So, Carleigh, you kind of already mentioned the fun you've had here during your spring breaks, but what's been your favorite part of being in Vero these times?
So for context, my major is zoo and wildlife biology,
Ooh.
and I want to go in. I would like to go get my master's in some kind of conservation, ecology, biology center.
Okay, nice.
So every time we come to actually spring break freshman year was when one of my friends told me, "Hey, you need to." I used to be microbiology or biochemistry, molecular biology used to be my major.
That sounds serious.
And the first spring break we came here, I was so interested in all of the actual conservation side of things that our friend Callista was like, "Carleigh, you're in the wrong major. You are. I've never heard you be passionate about your micro work other than what you do as your job. You were way more passionate about this." And so she's actually that experience showed me what I actually want to be doing.
Yeah.
So every time we come here, I am big on the different wildlife and conservation side of things.
Yeah,
So,
and there's a lot of wildlife here.
There is, and I have a camera, so I get to dabble in photography a little bit.
Sweet.
So it's fun. Like we went, one of Rachel's church community members here took us out yesterday.
Donnie.
Yeah.
The
Oh,
drummer.
Donnie Camacho.
Yeah,
Oh, shout
yeah.
out to Donnie Camacho if you're watching.
It
Yeah.
was so. He took us out on a boat and we went island hopping. That was such a cool experience. The last place we stopped had an osprey nest, and I've never seen one in person. Like we have them in Virginia,
Yeah.
but I've never seen one, and I didn't know that Florida had them really because that's the third time I've been here.
Right. Yeah.
But I spent like half an hour on this island trying to take a picture of them in their nest, and I got actually a few great
Oh,
shots.
yeah.
Let's go.
That's probably my highlight of the trip.
And like every time we see like a bird or like an animal, we're like, Carleigh, look, it's an animal. What is it?
Wait a
What is
second,
it?
let me listen. I can tell you what this is.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
It's like she's always practicing for her next exam, so it's like we're her study partners when it comes to that.
I'm like, wait, so you can tell it's this bird because it makes this sound and this call at this interval? Yeah. Oh,
That's like a superpower. Goodness gracious. Yeah, because there's so much wildlife out there. Yeah. Have you guys seen any gators or anything or no?
Funny
we
enough, I don't
haven't.
think on any of these trips we have seen a gator.
Okay.
I've seen them
They're
in
hard
the
to come by,
past.
kind of. Yeah.
And
yeah.
I feel like March is still kind of, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, March is kind of early for them to be out.
Ooh,
Yes, no?
I am not a zoologist.
I don't know.
I've lived for all my life. Even then, I don't know those things. But
Yeah.
I've seen them before
maybe,
in
I don't know.
person.
They like sunbathing, so it's probably when
This
it
is
gets
true.
really warm. I mean, Florida's hot kind of year round, except like the winter when it gets like 50 degrees.
Yeah, for like 1 week.
Which I don't think you mentioned. So I'm from Maryland, but you're from Florida. So
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Oh, I think you might have mentioned this. I can't remember that.
Yeah.
Miami. No. Where?
The
I forget what you
villages.
said.
The villages.
That's
Yeah,
what it was. Yeah.
You said local, and I was like, well, like we're not locals, and I was like,
Not the
well, actually,
Vero.
like
Yeah.
You
we're
are.
Central Floridian. You know,
Okay. I should have seen it.
Yeah, it's
I should
okay.
have known a fellow Floridian when I saw one.
the mustache. Get it over.
yeah. There you go.
Um,
Okay, so you're in Florida. Then Liberty is the only time you've kind of spent.
Yeah,
North
yeah.
over
But
in
I think
Virginia.
I like it colder. I get really hot. And I sweat a lot.
I feel
so
that.
like wearing any more clothing than I have to. Like if I showed up to this in like a suit, I would be drenched in sweat
Yeah.
already walking
feel
up
that.
here. You know, so I can't have that. So I like Virginia weather.
Yeah.
Mhm.
When we go back, it's gonna be I think a little hotter.
I think it's
I
getting
think
warmer.
the lake opens up on the mountain.
Okay.
And
Nice.
it's like,
About that though, they drained it, so we don't have it anymore.
What do you mean they drained it?
So we have a place at Liberty called Camp Hideaway, which is it's awesome. It's a great they have beach volleyball, a lake that we get to swim in, kayaks, paddleboards, a zip line. Like it's a great just outdoor rec place.
No, it sounds like it.
But they're expanding the lake. It's been a project for about a year now. Maybe they started last semester, but they cleared the field that was next to the lake, and they dug it out. And they were going to fill it, but they ended up draining this lake instead. So it won't be filled and probably until next fall or maybe next spring.
well, they said they're expanding it like 10 times.
Yeah.
And it's
It
already,
took a
it's already
while.
pretty big. Like enough
Yeah.
to
It is pretty
kayak.
big.
Probably takes like 5 minutes to go across the whole
So-
thing.
Okay.
It's not that big.
Right,
but
right.
I mean, 10 times bigger than that. That's
Yeah.
going to be pretty big.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for that. I think a lot more people are going to.
I'm just so curious. How do you fill up a lake? Like,
You know what?
so
That's
funny.
not my.
Sorry.
I
Just
don't
like-
know. I couldn't tell you.
It's
I'm
big-
sure
we
it's
could
a
take
simple
hose out
answer,
there.
but I have no
I
idea.
know.
Pray.
Yeah, let it rain, Lord.
Yeah.
Cool, guys. Well, great. Well, as you guys have heard, they are Liberty University students. Shout out to Liberty University in Lynchburg, Virginia.
Go Flames.
Let's go. So in a second, I want to hear why Liberty. But for those of you who are considering colleges, yes, Liberty University is a solid college. I've visited it a couple times. I did not attend, but I know many people that have been there, including you guys now. So, and something I just want to comment on before I interview them more about, what the Lord has for them, what they're studying. You've already heard a little bit from Carleigh about that. Something that to know as they're just talking, it's so important if you're a college age student, whether you're attending college or whether you're more local at a community college or whatever it may be your situation, connect with people.
Oh, yeah.
Connect with people. Even if you're an introvert, I get that. I'm more inclined to be an introvert at times. I prefer just to spend time to myself, right? But if you don't step out and make connections during this 18 to 24 year period, man, you're missing out on a lot of opportunities. Because I still connect. I mean, I'm not that old. I'm only 26, but I still connect with my college friends, right? That I have, and I did fun things too, like you guys doing, right? Visiting different areas, road tripping, stuff like that. And if you don't incline yourself and step out, it's gonna be uncomfortable at first. I'm sure, as we're gonna hear maybe in a little bit, that first week at Liberty University wasn't like, oh gosh, maybe it was a little panicking a little bit, especially as a Florida boy, you're kind of far away, and I don't know how far away Virginia is from Maryland, but like it can be a little daunting. But you gotta step out, make some friends, make some connections, and those will be honestly lifelong friends, God willing, for you. So yeah, so Kevin. Carleigh, in no particular order, tell me why Liberty University. What are you studying at Liberty University? But I got to start with why Liberty University.
I think Carleigh wants to go first.
I can go
All
first.
right,
Yeah, I can
there you
first.
go.
Yeah. So Liberty, genuinely, I wasn't ever super interested in. I grew up in a very, very public school system. My mom grew up in a very legalistic home, and so she sent me and my sister. She grew up in a very legalistic home.
Yeah.
Or just that environment. And chose to go to public school to get that other side of the experience.
Sure.
It was a very sheltered upbringing, and
Absolutely.
she didn't want that for me and my sister. So we went to a public school environment, which I'm so thankful for. But that eventually showed me that I wanted to go to a Christian school. But I didn't always want to. I actually wanted to go to University of Delaware for a while. And a large part of where I wanted to go to school had to do with volleyball, because I played softball and volleyball growing up, and I played beach volleyball.
Oh, nice.
I kind of got plugged in with the Liberty beach volleyball team at first, which was the only reason that I was interested in the school in the first place. Eventually, I had a few too many injuries and kind of got burned out, and I decided that volleyball wasn't my choice, but I still was interested in Liberty. And also coming to Liberty, I wasn't fully committed to the school itself. And it took a few different experiences being there to realize that this genuinely was the school I was supposed to be, not just where I ended up. Like it took some back and forth, trying to decide if I was in the right place, and God showing me a few different opportunities that I had and did not have for me to realize that I was in the right place.
Yeah, that's good. That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that, Carleigh.
What was the second half of that question?
Eventually, I want to hear why you chose your degree.
Oh,
but
sure.
we can jump
You
into
can, yeah.
Kevin's why Liberty.
Before I think I start, I think I want to say, before I forget,
Yeah.
I think for me, like, I didn't rely on God in high school and especially for any decisions that I was making. And so like, I think for me, I needed to pursue God, because that was everything. Like that is everything. And when I gave so much to the world and like sports and like people, like it failed. It really did fail. And it's like when I finally gave that up, like gave up sports and gave up, I guess, a girlfriend, gave up girlfriends, gave up friends. It's like, and relied on God. It's like he took me on a plane ride, like to a good place, to a great place. And I'm just very thankful for that. So to start, the reason why I came to Liberty is because my parents are Christians, and my parents were missionaries in Haiti. My grandparents were missionaries in Haiti. So I always knew like who Christians were, what they said, what they believed, and what I believed. And I was saved. I got saved at a church camp in 2012. We left Haiti after the earthquake in 2010. I was 6, and then in February I turned 7. Moved to Texas, lived there for like 7 years. And when I was in Texas, I got saved at a church camp, and I slowly kind of fell away as I grew up. I remember like freshman year of high school, I like the biggest thing I knew as a Christian was like, God said, don't do that. So don't do that.
Right.
And like, that's all I didn't know much about Jesus. I didn't know how to share the gospel. And so I kind of fell away, making friends just in a bad community. And I think the number one thing for me is community. Like I love my friends so much, and they counsel me. They love me back. They appreciate me. And, they protect me and are very kind to me. Yeah. And I need that. Like I can't be in a community where it's like degrading and they leave you in the dust, if you're at a party or whatever, and like they leave you. It's like, those aren't the people for you. People for you are going to be there through everything. When you're sick, when you're down, they're going to pick you up. And I think that's what I got when I was at Liberty. And so I was just in the wrong crowd, sophomore, junior, senior year. And I never thought about college. I was playing soccer, playing football, just having fun, just being entertained, going to parties and whatnot, getting myself into a bad crowd, bad situation. And I think senior year, it was like picking a college. And before I had thought about what college, I was like, okay, I'm good at soccer. Let's just stick to soccer. So I applied for like a program that like got my name out there, got my videos out there. And I thought everything was going good. And then I pulled my right side of my groin. Junior year, and I kept playing on it because I was like, I'm not gonna give up. Like, but I've never been injured before, so in an injury, it's like kind of have to like not give up, but just like wait and be patient for it to heal, then start again. Well, I kept going on it, and then senior year, since I relied so much on my left leg, the left side of my groin pulled. So I had pulled both sides of my groin, and I wasn't able to play that much. And then I pulled my quad, which I have a weird little bump on here.
Wow. Yeah. From when you pulled it.
From when I pulled it. And it's kind of, it doesn't hurt. Nothing hurts anymore. I'm good. Thank God. But like I was going to play soccer. I was trying to play soccer for either like an AIA school or D3 or something at least. And like I wasn't getting anything because I was injured, and my coach wasn't very nice. Like he would promise things that he wouldn't fulfill. And I think that's where it comes, like relying on people, relying on my coach, like, coach, take it away. Like take my life here. Like, and he just didn't fulfill the promises that he thought that he said to me, that he said he would fulfill. And so I kind of just lost interest in playing sports. And I remember senior year summer, I was dating this girl for like a year and a half, starting junior year. Yeah. And so it was the summertime, and everyone's thinking about going to college. And I applied to like UNF, UF, University of South Florida, Miami, Miami.
Yeah, all the big schools.
Yeah, all the pretty much big schools. And my big one is FGCU down in Fort Myers. Yep. Love that school. I went down to check it out. And me and my girlfriend at the time, we both went down. We both were going to go together to the school. Well, over the summer, I met Rachel McVeigh, Kayla Moore, and Caleb Goss, and a couple other friends that we still have now. And we were Zoom calling all the time, and we became pretty good friends. And I remember one night, Kayla was like, if this relationship isn't glorifying the Lord, you need to end it. And like,
it's a true friend right there.
I know.
Dang, hard
shout out Kayla.
Kayla's and so that kind of just
put in my mind, like, I need people that like are gonna tell me the truth and are gonna be real about it. And so I just became friends with them, and they told me, they're like, you need to break up with her. And so the next day I broke up with her, and it's been good ever since. It was very hard though in the beginning. And so I applied to Liberty because my friend Jason Mason, they applied, and they were going to go Seafall College for a weekend.
Yep.
And I went with them, and I wasn't very close to Mason or Jace. And I think I had an engineering class with Mason, and that's about it. We were pretty good friends.
Yeah.
And so we went together and had a blast. Like, I've never had so much fun at a like Seafall or visit in my life. Like, me and this random guy bought walkie-talkies and like just like, hey, Dwayne, where you at? Yo, copy, or, 10-4. And it was so much fun. And so like I applied and got accepted like that day. It's like, what's the acceptance rate?
High.
Very high.
I don't know.
Applied to Liberty.
I do not have those statistics.
Very, very high. And so I got accepted and just started like, I guess I'm going to Liberty.
Wow.
And like, I remember my parents through all of this were very prayerful because I was like a rebellious
Yeah, rebellious
Mm-hmm.
child. And like, I remember my mom just crying so much every night, just being like, I pray that Kevin can like, think about going to Liberty, because that would mean a lot.
Yeah.
And so I think one day I woke up and I was like, Mom, like, I'm going to Liberty. Like, there's no like, where else am I gonna go?
Yeah.
I can't go to FGCU. Like, I'm not on a scholarship. And so I was like, Liberty offers in-state tuition for everybody. Like, it's the same,
really?
same
Or
tuition
it's
cost.
there is no in-state
Yeah.
versus out-of-state tuition. There's a scholarship for kids there's a small scholarship for kids who are Virginia, who
Like
are in-state, but it's
Right,
not
right.
considered in-state versus out-of-state tuition.
Gotcha. Oh,
Yeah.
good to know.
So it's
Good to know if
pretty-
you're
it's
looking
pretty
for a
cool,
school.
Yeah, if you come to LCA, Liberty Christian Academy, you can probably get a scholarship as well.
There you go.
It's like their high school.
Yeah,
attached to
I've
Liberty.
heard of it. Yeah, I hear they get treated really well.
Yeah.
Full ride, pretty much.
Yeah.
Also, if you have like parents that went there, don't you get like all sorts of? I don't know. If
Yeah,
your parents
it's
went
free
there,
tuition.
but- Yeah, so your kids are gonna be blessed one day.
Yeah. And I think just through like meeting people and seeing what a Christian community can build
Yeah.
and could have, I was like, I'm 100% for it. And like literally I was 100%. Like, dropped like most of my friends in high school that I made that were just bad for me. And I dropped like my girlfriend. I dropped a lot of things for Liberty. And I went in there not knowing if I was gonna be friends with these people and not knowing who my roommates were. And it just turns out like God ordained it all. Like, there was nothing that I did that worked out for myself.
Yeah.
Like, it was all God, because I wasn't praying. I wasn't like relying on God.
Yeah.
Like, God just took over. The Holy Spirit was with me and with the people that talked to me to come to Liberty.
Yeah.
And so everything just worked out. And it was fantastic. It was great. And so that's my coming to Liberty.
That's awesome.
So yeah.
That's great. Oh, so good. Well, I want to circle back to that community piece towards the end of this conversation. So if
Okay.
I forget, remind me, guys. But I want to hear now. And again, I love how you shared so much of your testimony in that build up, and you continue to sprinkle in your testimony as well. You too, Carleigh, as much as you see fit. I love. No, it's good, Kevin. I want to hear now. We already heard a little bit, Carleigh, about the major you're pursuing, but I want to hear more the story, both of you guys, of because when we think of major, I know that they're not directly linked to your calling in life, which is another whole conversation for another day. But a lot of times the major we pursue is because of the giftings God has put in us, and we're gonna use that giftings to glorify Him, right? I believe, I don't know where your thoughts on this. I believe every job is ministry. I don't think ministry is just being a pastor or a teacher, which is important, but everyone's a minister, right? You're ministering in your business, you're ministering on the soccer field, you're ministering in the wildlife, right? Everything is seen through that lens, in my opinion. So my question is, how did the Lord work inside of you, or is He still in process? Because I know, are you guys juniors?
Juniors, yeah.
Both juniors, yeah.
So juniors is probably my junior year is when I knew I wanted to do ministry. But maybe you're still in process figuring that out. But I want to hear, how's the Lord equipping you in that way? Why the major you chose? What do you think the Lord has for you after Liberty?
Well, so like I said, in high school, I was always the science kid, kind of. I was way heavier on the chemistry side. And so I came into school doing biochemistry and molecular biology. And actually, my freshman semester, this is kind of unheard of, but I got the opportunity to shadow for a lab that studied microbiology and mycology. So I work with a fungal antigen.
Dang, were you the valedictorian of your school or something?
I was, I think I was the top. I think it was the eighth and highest in my class.
Eighth highest thing. I have how many graduating class?
Oh, what were we?
10.
No,
Hey, state students.
10.
That was a public
No,
school.
I went to a large school. I don't want to give you a bad number, but it was
Guesstimation.
how large was our school in
Like
general?
over
here's the thing.
200?
My initial instinct is to say my class was about 400 kids. It
Wow.
was it was a large school, but I think that might be a little high for sure.
Still, regardless. My
huge
graduating class was
Huge school.
20 kids.
But I was also one of those kids where I was like, I refused to get anything below an A. I think I got a B once in one term, and it was
Almost
AP
died.
chemistry. It was AP chemistry. It was actually what I actually. Oh, here's the thing. I was one of those kids. I graduated with a 4.7 GPA. And the only B I ever got was in AP chemistry. And because I got a B in it, I was like, this is what I want to major in.
Wow.
I didn't do well on this. I want to study this.
Oh, wow. You're like, you want to overcome.
That was kind of my thing. Yeah.
Are you perfectionist at all? Just like curiosity?
Yes, that's been a practice. I'm a recovering perfectionist.
Recovering, I
I'm a
think.
recovering perfectionist.
Keyword.
Recovering.
Nice.
But so I came in as biochemistry and molecular biology, and I'll be honest, I had no idea what I wanted to do with that. I enjoyed what I studied, and I still liked what I studied. I didn't stop that major because I was struggling in it at all, even. It was just that God showed me that wasn't where I wanted to be in life. Like,
Yeah.
I had no vision for what I wanted to do with that major. I really couldn't see myself in a job. And so I'll bounce back. I got plugged in with that microbiology lab, and I love everything I've learned there. My advisor, Dr. Price, is amazing. I've learned so much from being able to apply in real time the things that I've been learning in class. Like, this is my third year working there. I so thoroughly enjoy it. I've got to present my research at Virginia Academy of Science, at the Liberty University Research Weeks.
Wow.
I have some presentations coming up. I really enjoy that work. It's such a blessing. But the other thing is, it also showed me that I don't want to be in a lab my entire life. I do want to be able to do more hands-on things, go out and do field work.
Yeah.
So that and my friends pointing out to me where my passion actually was is kind of what encouraged me to go more into the conservation, environmental side of things. So a little less microbiology, more macrobiology. But so much of where I want to go now has a huge micro background. So but it all comes together. Like, no, even if the direction that I had went initially wasn't where I ended up, it still is in line with where I'm going. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yep.
All of this backs it up. So I, through my friends showing my lab experience and my friends kind of pointing out to me where I actually was passionate was what encouraged me to switch. And now I think I'm on the right path. I will not assume my own future.
Sure,
I have no idea where God's taking me. I don't know if I'm
wise.
going to grad school or not, but I would like to. I think I'm going in the general correct direction.
That's a good tension. Yeah. You have the plans because I think the Lord has asked us to be stewards of our planning, but at the same time in Proverbs says we can make our plans, but God directs our steps. So that's a great tension you're balancing there. Cool.
And one of the things that something I'd like to point out for other kids who are kind of in the same position is when you're not sure what you really want to do with your future, I think the biggest fear is committing to the wrong thing and getting stuck. Because one thing my advisor helped me work through is I initially wanted to get my PhD, but I was very afraid. Like, I mean PhD off the bat, like go graduate here, go get my PhD.
Yeah.
But I was very afraid of committing 7 or so years of my life to something that I wasn't going to enjoy, or finding out that I was in the wrong place later. And one of the things he pointed out to me was, well, hey, I can get my master's instead and then go from there once I know what I want to do. But that you are never stuck. Every part of what you do, or every direction you go, is still the road that you're on. That's a terrible, terrible analogy. Don't use that.
No, you're saying though. I'm putting together what you're putting down.
Yeah, like you're never stuck. You're never going to make a bad choice.
No.
Every bad choice that you think you make is what directs you towards the destination that you end up at.
Absolutely.
You're never stuck.
Yeah.
So that was probably the biggest part of how I was okay with switching my major to the extent that I did.
It's good. Awesome. And Kevin, what about you? What are you pursuing? Why are you pursuing it?
My major is sport management with the cognate in sport administration. I'm not totally sure what I want to do with that.
Yeah.
But I think like God's called me to like lead people by example in like any position of life. I remember saying that at young adults, like God calls us for something, somewhere, anywhere, any position. I could be an employee, I could be a CEO, I could be, a janitor, I could be an office person, a receptionist. And so I think right now, like I'm just excited to just be a part of an organization and just like bear the light of Christ, like in where I'm at. And that by doing that is like being a leader, like loving people and showing them Christ through my actions and through the example of like how I came up in Christ, like where I learned this from, and just sharing that with others, sharing that with my boss, sharing that with other employees and even customers. And I think that's very important for me because I'm like indirectly showing them Christ.
Absolutely.
And to me, I think that's just my way of doing it because I'm not like one to stand up and be like and share the like I'm not the one person to stand up in front of a crowd and share the gospel. Like I can do that. I've done that before, but I think just I can share the gospel where I'm at, and in my actions and the example that I can show. And so, but before sport management, it was engineering. In high school, I took an engineering class in the engineering academy. Loved my teacher that I had, Mrs. Nisbet. Elizabeth Nisbet.
Elizabeth?
Yeah, she's awesome.
A lot of Z's in that name. Elizabeth Nisbet. Okay,
yeah, and
you have a great name, Nisbet, if you're watching. Not judging it.
He's gonna send this to her directly.
we love you.
We got an episode just for you.
Name drop.
I hope Dennis Nisbet's doing well as well as her husband.
Oh, okay, Dennis.
But yeah, I took an engineering academy in high school and I loved it. Like I loved doing projects, loved doing the math for it. But the highest math class I was in was like pre-calculus. And I did really good in physics. It was physics, calculus-based physics.
Okay. Wow.
And I did really well in that class.
Yeah.
Maybe just because the teacher or whatever, and I did well. I don't know. And I had my first college class, college algebra, and it was horrible, terrible things. I was so bad at it. I could not get my mind to study. I was in a community where it was just very talkative, very let's hang out. You know what FOMO is?
Oh yeah, fear of missing out. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Runs rampant.
peak FOMO freshman year of college, and so I just could not sit down and study. I mean, Carleigh has the same kind of thing that she was. You could apply. Yeah.
Freshman year is hard for a lot of reasons, but a large part of it was my major is so study heavy, and that was also the same time that I was making true, genuine friendships from being isolated for so long. And it was a hard balance of I really need to study for organic chemistry, but also we could go do this thing. It was kind of hard. I genuinely can only say, for multiple reasons, but this year and specifically this semester is when I really, really finally got a handle on how to balance my time between my friends, God, and my school.
Absolutely, and that's going to serve you well for the rest of your life.
But it took a while.
Yeah,
it took a hot minute. So
there you go. That's awesome.
So that definitely FOMO was an issue.
It gets better. I promise.
It does get better.
It gets better.
But now, I switched after that college algebra class. I switched to sport management, and I talked to
no algebra and sports management.
Algebra. I took quantitative reasoning, and I passed with a 92. I think.
Well, look at you!
Well,
passing with flying colors.
And so that wasn't like huge for me, but I think like I definitely wanted to stay in sports. Because all I wanted to do was sports. Like in high school, middle school, even in elementary, like all I did was sports. Like give me a ball, soccer ball, football, rugby ball, lacrosse ball, like baseball, anything.
Wow.
And like in high school, I played like 4 sports.
That's
And in Florida, you can because it's a back-to-back.
Yeah.
I would play football and then go to soccer. I'd play soccer then go to baseball.
Yeah, that was me with volleyball and softball. I
That's
played high
awesome.
school volleyball at the same time I played travel sports, and so it was volleyball and softball seasons are at different times, but softball is all year round, volleyball is winter, and then I played beach volleyball in the summer. So it was just back-to-back practices.
I love how you guys are like, man, you guys are the full package over here because you're like
Student
studious
athletes, yeah.
and you're athletic, right? I like to think I was the same way. I did soccer, cross country, and tennis.
Yeah.
I had good grades.
Oh, I love tennis.
Yeah, tennis is fun. Yep.
But yeah, and then I switched to sport management, and it was a lot easier, obviously. But I'm not in the sport world. Like, I don't watch
Oh, like
sports.
keep up with the
I don't look at the
stats
statistics.
and
Yeah, the stats. I don't
analytics.
talk to people about sports unless it's like we just watched the game or we just like saw something on the news or whatever,
Right.
or someone brought it up. But I'm not I can't talk sports.
Right. Yeah.
You know, maybe I could teach you how to play golf or soccer or football, but I'm not one to be like, did you hear like Tiger Woods?
Yeah, like the free agency you just opened up for the NFL.
Yeah, like the
and all-
NCAA is now covering NAIL deals, like, you know. And I think a lot of the stuff I'm learning is in my classes.
Yeah.
This year, I feel like I'm doing the absolute least for my career because I'm taking an internship. It's 400 hours. So in 16 weeks, I have to get 400 hours.
Wow.
And that's 25 hours a week. And so I'm taking all my classes online. I'm only taking 12. So I'm taking 9 classes online. And then my last 3 credits to make 12 is my internship. And it's 400 hours. And it's with Fellowship of Christian Athletes.
Oh, nice.
I love working for them. I love working in the office. I like going out and sharing the gospel to high schools. And that's when I said, like, standing up. Like, I stood up in front of a class, shared my testimony, shared the gospel, and just have events for these high school kids, and especially developing, like, leaders in the communities of high schools, and especially, like, in Lynchburg, like, in the counties surrounding Lynchburg, you know, they need help. Like, there's a bad community there with non-believers and people who just, like, resent Christians. So it's important that we're out there in the fields sharing the gospel, especially to athletes. And so that's kind of how God's like using me. It's just like I'm in sports, and whatever it is, I'm down for it.
Yeah.
Like, you have my yes is on the table. Like, you have my body, you have my mind, you have my thoughts and everything. Like, take it and help me. You know. So yeah, I think that's a couple ways like God's using me is just like staying in sports, staying active, and just being in communities surrounding Liberty.
What Kevin also hasn't mentioned is that he's an RA.
Oh yeah.
So he's
resident
also
assistant.
super
I was one of
busy
those
with that.
in college. Yeah.
So,
Thanks. Thanks, Carleigh.
It's
you're
like,
welcome.
usually RA is like a position you don't want people to know. Right? At least that's how it was in my school. It's like, oh, you're the policeman of the hall.
Yeah.
So I don't know how it is in
Well,
Liberty.
I think at Liberty, it's res life, like resident life.
Yeah.
It's so much. I think it's so much better than like in other schools.
Okay. Yeah.
Because like at Liberty, you kind of know what you're going into, and the amount of people that go to Liberty, and like we have a Liberty Way, like it's the set of rules that we have.
Oh, the Liberty Way.
The Liberty Way.
Sounds serious.
And so like
the Liberty Way. Sorry.
Yeah. And I enforce that.
Yeah.
You know, almost every
The
day.
enforcer.
As you should.
And it's honestly great. I love it because I'm like I will put myself in community. I'm not one to like lay back and let like the community build itself. Like I'm jumping in there.
You're creating the culture.
Yeah. So like I have 2 other RA partners, and they like to think about creating events, and I'm just like, you have my yes. Like I'm like, you play dodgeball? I'm in. Like I'm game. I'm about to throw the first ball and hit someone in the face. You know?
Yeah.
And so I think God is using me to like be a leader on my hall, off my hall, as an employee at FCA. And I think like I'm not in sports because if I was, I wouldn't be an RA. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You can't do it
everything,
all.
Yeah, everything just works out. And this summer, actually, I'm very hard to committing fully to multiple things when I'm in multiple things. So I applied to summer RA, which is like you just stay over with a bunch of athletes over the summer to be an RA.
Gotcha.
I got denied. I didn't get accepted to summer RA. And I think that's a blessing because now I can focus 100% on an internship that I might have for a soccer organization in Cleveland, Ohio.
Oh, cool. What's the name of the organization? Okay. Nice.
Well, I don't know. I haven't talked to him yet.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
But I was scared to text him and call him because if I get summer RA, it's like, hey, actually, like,
oh,
I have
right.
to deny
About
this.
that.
Yeah. So now I can be like, call him and be like, I am all in.
Let's go.
Because I don't want to lie. I don't want to lie and tell Res Life and be like, I am all in for summer RA.
Right.
And then
You don't want to have to commit.
yeah, I don't want to double book yourself.
exactly.
Yeah.
And
Also, I'm so sorry you're sweating so much. I'm not noticing
okay.
it gets hot in here.
Don't worry. That's
I have to turn
normal.
off the AC in
It's
order
okay.
to not get the
He's
best
used
sound
to it.
quality.
It's
But
I
yeah,
gave a fair warning.
yeah, that's true. That's true. I just feel
You
bad.
warned us.
Yeah, there
We
you
have a electric breakdown. It's probably because of sweat dripped down some electric cords.
go. Too funny.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. As you were.
Yeah. So just getting plugged into a community
Just good.
and being a leader and living by example is probably where God's using me the most.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Great. Well, I want to comment on two things. One thing you said, Kevin, and one thing you said, Carleigh, and then I want to circle back to the community aspect. So something to highlight, guys. I'm hoping you're, just soaking in all of this. Testimonials are awesome. I love testimonies, right? We all have a story, and we all can learn from other people's stories so that we kind of we're ahead of the game, right? I mean, sometimes experience is the best teacher, and sometimes we got to hit rock bottom to learn a lesson. But if you can take a lesson from someone who's already got the experience, that's so much better. But yeah, like you said, Carleigh, so you said it, when you're pursuing a direction, right, there's no setbacks, right? Unless you're intentionally being lazy, that's the only setback I'd say is a setback. Otherwise, everything is going to be used for something in the future, right? Whether you produce something in chemistry, biology, I forget all the terms you use because I'm not big brain like you. Nothing's a waste of time, right? You're going to use it sometime in your future, right? I took one semester in seminary. Thinking I wanted to get a master's of divinity after my first semester. I'm like, yeah, this is not for me, right? Was that a wasted semester? I paid $3,000? No, I still use the information I learned from that semester. I don't have an MDiv degree, but it was worth it. So there's no, again, unless you're being lazy, that's the only exception I'd say.
I'll kind of restate what I said. I think that it's entirely your perspective and how you perceive your situation. Because like setbacks exist, but it's just, was that setback supposed to be there to teach you something? A setback isn't always like things go wrong. Don't get me wrong. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying everything goes right.
Sure, absolutely.
Things absolutely go wrong. It's just, how do you want to look at it? Do you want to look? And this can apply to anything. This doesn't even apply to majors. A lot of times I'll hear people talk about how they get in a relationship and it doesn't work out, and they're like, I wasted so much time.
True.
And I'm like, no, look at how much you learned from that. Yeah, it didn't work out the way that you thought it would, but you wouldn't know the things that you know now if you didn't go through that experience. And that applies to everything. Your major, sports, any perspective. It's entirely just how you look at it.
Absolutely.
Do you want to let this bog you down, or do you want to use this to propel you forwards? One thing that I've looked at a bit.
Yeah, that's good.
One thing.
I wish I had like a mic drop. No, I don't know. I need a mic drop. Beat. Anyway, sorry. Keep going. I love sound effects.
One thing that I'd been thinking about a little bit lately is that God has never steered me wrong, even when I didn't like where I was. Like in any situation, even if I was not okay with the situation that I was in, or I was upset or hurt, looking back on those experiences, God has never set me in the wrong place. Everything I've gone through has either taught me something or steered me a certain direction, and I wouldn't take any of it back, no matter how painful it was. And part of it is my testimony.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's good, Carleigh. And our one, so nothing is about perspective, right? You could say, oh, no, that relationship, to use your example, wow, it was a waste of time. Nothing came out of it. No, I learned something out of it. But if you do the same thing twice and you don't learn from it and you get back into like a relationship, then obviously you're wasting your time, right? So there is such thing as wasting time. But if you have a perspective where I'm a lifelong learner, I'm going to learn from my experiences and do better next time, power to you, right? God can't steer a parked car, right? Just be moving. God will guide. And then also, one of my favorite scriptures is, I think in Matthew 6:33, I think. Seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be added to you. So if you're seeking the Lord, honestly, it doesn't really matter where you're walking, right? I mean, it does. But he's going to guide you. He's going to direct you. If you're seeking him first, then everything else is going to fall into place. So, yeah. I thought that you shared that I think was really good too, Kevin, to piggyback off of, is this idea of be a leader wherever you're at. right? You mentioned all the different things, like if you work in a business, janitor, teacher, whatever, doesn't matter. Be a leader. And it reminds me of something, and you shared this in our Bible study on Monday night too, right? Because we were studying, for context, guys, we were studying the book of Nehemiah, and we're talking about how Nehemiah was such a great leader. He led by example, and how leading by examples is just not something that the big CEOs and the politicians or whoever or presidents of universities do, right? It's something we can all do, lead by example, regardless of where you're at, type of thing. And it reminds me of a class I took. I'm currently working on my master's degree in organizational leadership, and the class was about being a good follower. And I thought, this is gonna be interesting. I'm learning about leadership, but now I'm learning about following. So I'm like, okay, I'll have an open mind to this. And it was describing what a good follower looks like, and I'm like, oh man, I want to be a good follower, right? And basically, what in essence is it's talking about how followers are leaders too, but they just lead underneath someone who leads. So it's like a leader leading leaders, right? It's not leaders leading followers; it's leaders leading leaders, right? And being a good follower means being a good leader as well. So it's interesting. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, set yourself as an example for the Lord. Glorify Him through it. It's gonna be awesome. Yeah. So
And here's the thing: as a Christian, we should be living life as close to Jesus as we can, because you have no idea who's watching you. Like you should be trying your best to set an example that others can follow, because you have no idea the people that look up to you and see you as a leader. You might not be necessarily in a leadership position or even think of yourself that way, but you have no idea who you're influencing or who is looking at you.
We're all influencing. Yeah, absolutely. Don't you ever think that I'm not a person of influence? Yeah, if you compare yourself to someone else, like if my college self may compare myself to Kevin, I'll be like, man, he's way more charismatic and way better with people than I am. Then I'd miss out on, I'm touching lives that Kevin isn't. And it's not competition, right? It's just like, it's
That's
just
powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. So don't compare. You're influencing somebody. Recognize that, right? Even if it's to one person or thousands, whatever, you're influencing somebody. So
I had a thought earlier, and I was going to say something, but Carleigh's
Sorry.
has a lovely voice.
Made you forget.
I think just like trying your best. Like your biggest takeaway was like learning from like experience and like getting experience. And like my thing is like, did you try it out first? In a sense of like, and the only example I can think of, sorry, Callista.
Oh no, Callista, close your ears.
is like, I just want people to try. And so, you know, like the little Apple Watch, you have an Apple Watch?
I used to, not anymore.
Okay. Well, she's laughing, and everybody laughs at me for this. But like,
I say the same thing. We have this conversation every time this happens.
You can ding your phone on your Apple Watch to like locate it.
Yeah.
And to me, I'm like, did you try and even look for it?
Kevin, this is kind of a passionate conversation.
It's super passionate. Like,
so it's not about like, okay, you're like, okay, you're just copping out. You're just doing the easy way out.
Yeah, but it's like it could be in your back pocket, and you ding it. It's buzzing on your back. I'm like, what? Like you didn't even feel around. You didn't look for it. Like you haven't moved in 15 minutes. It's right in front of you. Anyway, that's just something I'm super like weird about. I'm like
a pet peeve a little bit. Yeah.
And so like that's just one of the things. And so to elevate that, I would say like try your best with anything. Like did you try to talk to them? Like did you try and work out a situation? Did you because I think if you go through experiences and like you make a mistake, it's like, well, did you try 100% and then make a mistake? Because if you only tried 20%, I think the mistake is you just not trying hard enough.
Yeah, your effort.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I don't like to give up, and neither does Carleigh. I think that's where we just like we take off on a rocket. Me and Carleigh is just like we try very hard in everything we do. Like we're tryhards. We sweat a lot because we are
literally and figuratively.
I don't have to be good at something, but I'm gonna give it my all.
Yeah,
I'm gonna do the best that I can. Even if I know I'm gonna fall flat on my face, I'm gonna try as hard as I can, and I'm not gonna be ashamed or embarrassed about it. That's the one thing that like we did karaoke the other night. No shame. I'm fully aware that I am not a musical person. My talents are in many other places, but it is entirely just this is going to be so much fun, and I'm going to try so hard, and it's going to be horrible.
Yeah. No, that's good.
Be bad.
But in the words of John Maxwell, fail forward.
Yeah, fail forward.
Yeah,
I read that this week.
Did you really?
Yeah,
wow.
that's really funny.
Hey, how about that? Yeah, so fail forward. And I always tell students, because I used to be a high school teacher, and I'm now working youth ministry, don't take yourself so seriously. We take ourselves so seriously. We care too much what people think, and we never try anything new because we're not good at it. I've learned. All right, forget it.
Don't let fear stop you from doing something new. Don't let shame stop you from experiencing new things.
Yeah.
That's actually don't take yourself so seriously. As a recovering perfectionist, what I mentioned.
Yes.
That's been something I have been working on. Is you don't have to be good at everything. You don't have to be right all the time, and you don't have to be perfect. You can't live up to everyone's expectations, and you can't live up to your own.
True.
You don't have to succeed at everything you do.
Yeah.
But it's a mentality. It's practice. You don't have to. It's your fear is what's stopping you from trying all these things because you're afraid of how you look to other people.
Yeah.
You're never going to meet everyone's expectations.
Absolutely. In the words of Heath Ledger's Joker, why so serious? You guys seen that movie? Please say you've seen that movie. Okay.
Yeah, so
That's the question I
we
asked,
have seen that
why so serious, James? Why so serious?
Why so
Loosen up a little bit. And I was a little psychotic in the context of that quote. It's kind of dark, but yeah. Anywho.